You're right, guys. First full save, I guess, on the full game. It's released today. We are doing an Aberdeen save over on twitch.tv/VikingDan pretty much every day, 2 p.m. Drop me a follow, head over there, and join me for some fun up in the Scottish leagues. But I am going to be doing a brief video pretty much at the end of every stream, kind of taking you through what's gone on, what's happening, what we're looking forward to, and what the plans are. This one will be a little bit longer. I'm going to take you through the idea behind the save, what we're looking to achieve, what we want to achieve, what I will hopefully not get sacked before we do achieve. And I want to treat this as a way that you guys who can't make every stream or can only dip in here and there can keep up to date with the save. You know, like I say, after every stream, there'll be a little 5-10 minute video maybe taking us through what's gone on. And, you know, you don't have to miss out on what's been happening. So first of all, as you can see, some things have already happened. We've already played a lot of friendlies. We've done pre-season. We've actually done the first couple of rounds of the Europa League Conference. We went through 9-1 on aggregate. We do have Basel next, though, which is a bit of a worry because they are dead good. So we're probably not going to make it to the Europa League, Europa Conference League proper. So we're probably going to be concentrating on the league a little bit this year and seeing what we can do that way. A bit of a kind of lead into the save and the idea behind it. As I said in the last video, the kind of my plans for FM22, it's going to be a little bit of a Build a Nation save, but whenever I think of Build a Nation saves, I think of more proper minnow nations and you're building them up. I do want to do that with Scotland. They are a bigger league. They're already in the top 10 leagues in Europe, as memory serves anyway. If we go into the competition reputation, they're 11th actually, so just outside that top 10. But the idea is to get them up with these top 5. So the French league, the German league, the Italian league, Spanish league, English league. I don't think we're going to overtake them, but I think we've got a decent chance of at least competing with them. And how I want to do that is by kind of stopping the duopoly in Scottish football. So obviously Celtic and Rangers, the old firm teams, the two biggest clubs historically. And as you can see, going from the past winners, absolutely dominated by them. I want to break up that duopoly. Not necessarily us winning the league every year, but maybe Celtic wins it one year. Maybe Rangers does a double back-to-back. Maybe we win one. Maybe we'll come second. Maybe I just want to break up the duopoly of that within a few seasons. Ideally within a few seasons. And with that, I'm hoping that I can push them to improve. That will lead to them having better squads, doing better in Europe, raising the floor of the quality of the league, and hopefully we kind of pull everyone else up with us doing that. Ideally. We'll see how that goes in practice, but that's kind of like the background to the save, what I'm looking to do. I don't necessarily have a way of, I want to play X, Y, or Z way. I'm going to look at the players that I've got, what I've got at my disposal, the best way to play. I do want to have a DNA in the club and like a certain way of playing, but that's something that I want to build over the first few years and really kind of flesh out what I think this team can be. As a starting point, the board do want us to use youth players, and there are some really good youth players at the club, actually. So I'm looking forward to blooding them and getting them into the team and hopefully keeping them around for a decent amount of time. And the board also want us to play kind of attractive attacking football, which is what I like to do anyway. I came into this, into this save thinking I might go with a bit of a 4-4-2, something a little bit more agricultural, should we say, because we've got a lot of hard-working, hard-nosed players in this team. But the board want good attacking football. As you can see from the friendlies and the Europa League game, I'm trying to at least go and get goals, which is a bit of an issue due to the fact that we have very few very talented forward players. But I'll take you through the team in a minute, and I'll show you what I'm working with. So looking at the squad, there are players here that you may be well aware of. There's certainly some really talented players. Calvin Ramsey is definitely one of those very talented players. Unfortunately, he's broken his ankle in pre-season, so he's going to be missing up until probably the Christmas break. After the winter break, he'll hopefully be back. Does leave us a little bit empty, that right back slot. So I am looking at players we can potentially bring in on loan. We do have Ross McCrory, who is out for a few weeks with a pulled calf muscle. 2 or 3 weeks he'll be out. So we're very, very kind of thin in that role. I'm playing a couple of the ball-winning midfielders or box-to-box midfielders that I've got there. I've also got a couple of centre-backs who can kind of cover in that spot as well. So we're trying to get by on that at the minute. I think it may be a blessing in disguise if we don't get into Europe, into the Europa Conference League proper, because it'll just give us that little bit of extra breathing room around games to keep players fit, stop injuries coming in, and all that kind of stuff. In terms of talent, though, we've got quite a few really good young players there. We've got Lewis Ferguson coming in as well. Really good, kind of hard-nosed central midfielder. He's not particularly creative. He's not necessarily a goal scorer, but he's got a great work rate, like solid technicals and mentals all around, physically really good. Like I say, if we can hold on to him for a decent amount of time, he could be a real kind of mainstay in hopefully a title winning side with Aberdeen. A few other players as well. We've got Conor McLennan. Stumbled over that name, but he's nice, pacey, wide man, decent work rate as well. So hopefully he can be quite a direct attacking option from the wide spaces. And then we've got like a few decent young players kind of floating in and around. Ryan Hedges, not necessarily young, but I think is our standout talent. Getting the most out of him is going to be my biggest job, and the thing that I'm really kind of aiming towards. I really want to get him on the ball a lot, creating stuff, scoring goals. As you can see from the Europa League games, he's already had a couple of decent games. 2 goals and an assist in 2. 4 goals for Lewis Ferguson, by the way. That was in 1 game. But the issues that we have are we've got lots and lots and lots and lots of very good and promising talent in defensive and more defensive-minded midfield roles. In terms of what we got attacking, we got Conor McLennan, who, as you've seen from his attributes, isn't the finished article just yet. But he's got a decent amount of potential. Ryan Hedges is decent. And then we've got players like J. Emmanuel Thomas, who is a bit of a FM legend. Christian Ramirez. Those kind of players who are decent, but we don't have tons and tons of depth up front. So that's something I'm trying to rectify in the transfer market. We don't really have any money, to be honest. I did try and sign a striker who went somewhere else. I've had a few players in on trial. I'm having a quick look at Ibe and Josh Sims because they're due back around the winter break. So hopefully maybe they can come in and add a little bit of something to us in the second half of the season. Jerome Sinclair as well is available, 24 years old. He's an all right, versatile forward, but he wants a whole load of money. He'd want to come in and be our top earner, and I'm just not up for paying that, no matter how good he might be. I'm planning on trying to keep him at the club on trial until transfer deadline day, and then maybe we can pick him up on a bit of a cheaper deal. And we weren't too far away from agreeing a deal where he was going to be earning about £7,000, and as you can see, he will be comfortably our top earner. But for a player that is so versatile, very talented, with a lot of promise, maybe he's worth that little bit of an outlay. Speaking of transfers, we have had one player come in, Fabio Contrao, a player that a lot of people will be aware of. Obviously, he's had tons of Portuguese caps. He's got 2 Champions League medals to his name. Falling off the cliff a little bit in terms of his physicality at the minute. But because of the way that we're playing, I needed someone who could be a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 game kind of player who could come in, give me a solid 90 minutes with a bit of creativity. And I think he offers that. Like, as long as I've got a little bit of cover behind him to cover for his aging legs, I think we'll be all right. And his final third delivery, he's got decent vision, good passing, great technique, crossing, his dribbling's good as well. His final third delivery and the things he can offer and put on a plate for our forward players, hopefully he'll be a good pickup for us this year. Not on a huge contract either. I was quite surprised, to be honest. Another player I'm looking at bringing in that left back spot as well is Neil Taylor. We have got a contract in for him. Sunderland have offered him a deal as well, though. So we'll see where he chooses to go. Again, we've had him on trial, actually. He played really well in the friendlies that he was here for. Solid defensively, still physically really good, but also, again, in that final third, good delivery, got decent vision, really good mentals. I think he can really offer something on that left-hand side that we don't have on that left-hand side at the minute. Because as of right now, we've got Andy Considine, who is definitely a centre-back. And we've got Jack McKenzie, who, although has a decent amount of promise, isn't a creative outlet on that left-hand side. He's pretty quick. He's okay at getting up and down the pitch, but his final third delivery isn't that great. He's not got much vision. I don't think he's going to be the guy that is going to offer what we want from our fullback positions. And speaking of what I do want from my fullback positions, well, this is the system that we use. And as you can see, I'm using complete wingbacks. I want my wingbacks getting high and wide, delivering crosses, delivering balls, passes through the lines into our final third, where I've got a deep line forward dropping off, holding up the play, which is probably going to be J. Emmanuel Thomas. He's big, he's strong, he's a decent dribbler, he's got an eye for a pass. He's not the best striker, and he's not got the work rate, but he's done pretty well in pre-season. I like the way that he links up the play, and he could really be the one that ties the runs together up front. He can spot those passes. So hopefully that'll work. But as I said, I want these wingbacks getting high and wide. Now, this is basically because we've got a lot of midfielders who are either good, very good, or kind of with a ton of promise, but they're all more industrial players, should we say. So we've got Scott Brown, obviously, as the old man. The older head of the group. He's not necessarily an old man at 36. But he's the captain. He's going to play a lot of games in this anchorman role. He's going to be the experience in the middle of the park. But again, he's not a guy who's really going to pick a pass, split the lines, kind of play, do those Hollywood passes. I've got Teddy Jenks and Matty Longstaff, both very much ball-winning, box-to-box, all-action kind of midfielders. Dean Campbell's similar. We've got Lewis Ferguson, who's a slightly more attacking option. He likes to get forward. So maybe he'll bring a little bit of goal scoring from midfield. He did get 4 goals playing off the left in a kind of hodgepodge lineup in that second leg of the Conference League qualifier. So he's got a little bit of versatility about him. He's really good. But we've got Dean Campbell as well, who is high work rate. Like, he's a decent passer, but he's not necessarily a particularly creative kind of guy. The one guy that can do it is Dylan Magooch. And again, he's not Paul Scholes. So he's all right at kind of like getting his foot on the ball, dictating the tempo. As you can see, he tries killer balls often. He dictates the tempo, which is a nice thing for a playmaker in the middle of the park. But only having one player who can do that means I wanted to have a system that was more geared towards the rest of my midfielders. So I'm going with a very kind of utilitarian midfield, almost in that kind of Klopp at Liverpool kind of mindset. I want my midfielders to snap into tackles, win the ball back, be all energy, and be defensively solid first, whilst leaving a platform for our wing-backs and inside forwards and deep line forward to be the effective attackers in the final third. Because of that, I'm going with an attacking mentality. I do play slightly short and work the ball into the box, just so we don't have people humping shots from 40 yards out, which tends to happen. In transition, we are counter-pressing and counter-attacking. My keeper's distributing short, and then out of possession, I am playing a pretty compact but high press system. So we're staying nice and narrow, but we're pressing high in the final third. We've got a high defensive line, and we are triggering our press much more often. We're looking to kind of shut teams down as soon as they get the ball or the ball's turned over and try and create chances from their errors. The one issue that we have with that is we don't have a striker who is at the club who is particularly good in the press. We were looking at bringing in a striker who would be able to do that. He's gone elsewhere. I've still got my eye out for other transfers, and it's going to be free transfers really, who we can maybe bring in or potentially a loan. But at this point, I've already got quite a big squad, especially with the trialists at the minute, and I don't want to be having a excessively large squad to go into the season with, especially when I've already tried to move a few players out. No one's really that interested. So I'm kind of, not reluctantly, but I'm accepting of that this is probably going to be my team for the year. Maybe, like I say, if we can add Taylor in at left back, that would be really nice. But this is probably what we're going with in the season. The vast majority of the time, we are going to be looking to take the game to the opponent. The really high energy positions, so central midfield and the wing back slots. When Ross McCrory and Ramsey are back, I'm going to have 2 players there. Obviously, Contrao and Taylor can rotate in that left back spot. And then I've got Mackenzie, and I am actually trading Matty Longstaff to play right back as well in our current injury issue, but he'll do a decent job as a complete wing back there as well. So we've got plenty of cover. I like the idea of taking the game to our opponents, and probably against everyone other than the old firm. That's going to be the way to get the most exciting football and the best results in the league. In terms of plans for what we do against the old firm, that's something I'm going to touch on a little bit later, I think. Just a few of the little bits that I want to touch on. Staff-wise, I've updated our coaching staff. We're up with some of the best in the league at the minute. I do have Alexander Fry maybe coming in as another coach as well. So hopefully that'll kind of finish all that off. I always like to go into a season with a good coaching staff. It's not the most expansive coaching staff at the minute, but we've got a decent coaching staff there, and that obviously gives us the best chance of training the players to the best of their ability, getting them ready for tactics and games. So yeah, hopefully we should have a good team going in. I've also got some new scouts on the way as well, who are some players you might have heard of. So there's our bid for Neil Taylor, but Vicente, Juan Pablo Angel, Gerardo Torrado, hopefully coming in as scouts, helping us. I mean, we're mainly going to be scouting the UK at the minute, but maybe when we start looking a little bit further afield, they'll be very, very useful. I've also got I also brought in, actually, it's well worth noting, Gordon Strachan's come in as our technical director. So he's looking after all the youth side of things, hiring all the coaching staff, all the managers and stuff there, because we don't actually have an under 23s or a reserve side. Anyone who's not in the first team is a part of the under 18s team. So I do want to make sure that they're getting looked after properly. So there we go. That's the save. Like I say, live 2 p.m. pretty much daily over on twitch.tv/VikingDan. Make sure you're heading over there, giving us a follow, get involved in the Discord, give me a follow on Twitter as well. But if you've enjoyed the video, you're looking forward to seeing how this save goes, give me a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.